So, guys, this is 30 minutes class only for today, and from tomorrow we will have a lengthier class. You know that we have seen principles of management fully, so the next chapter that we have to start with is with the functions of management, and the very first function in management is planning. So, we are starting from planning, one of the most important functions of management. So, planning is deciding about your future. What do you exactly want to do in future? How would you be doing that? When will you be doing that? And sequencing and programming all the actions that you would be taking in future over a certain period is planning for a certain objective. So you first decide goals as what do you want to achieve, what do you want to attain exactly over a planning period by the end of the planning period, and then you decide how will you achieve that. So planning bridges a gap between where you are today and where you want to be in future, right? I'm talking about this in perspective of a business organization. So planning is deciding in advance what is to be done, when it is to be done, where it is to be done, and how it is to be done. So what, when, where, and how we decide here about future. It is concerned with the selection of goals to be achieved, that is your objectives, and determining the effective course of action out of various alternatives. To achieve the goals which you have set, which you have decided, what course of action you will take so that you could achieve those goals, that also you have to determine now while planning. Have you got me, guys, all? Hunar, Anushka, Shivam, Aditya, Aryan, Ashutosh.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
yes,
This involves forecasting. You forecast the future so that you could make a right plan to achieve your goals. You establish targets as over the planning period when you would be achieving what, so that by the end of the planning period means by the end of a future date you could achieve the overall goals which you are setting today. Then developing the policies means guidelines as how will you achieve that. So what you have to do and what you don't have to do, that is all about policies. And then programming and scheduling the actions, that is sequencing the actions as what will you do first and what later, and how will you do, that is procedure. So planning seeks to bridge the gap between where we are and where we want to go, where we are today and where we want to go, or where we want to reach. Planning is the process of setting future objectives and deciding on the ways and means of achieving them. So here we decide the objective first and then the means and ways to achieve those objectives. These goals help to set the targets, that is, milestones, which need to be achieved and against which mutual performance is measured. So, after setting the overall goal, you break down that goal into various pieces, which are known as targets or milestones. And against each target over the planning period, you compare your actual performance so that you could know whether you are deviating, and if you are deviating from your exact plan, from your actual plan, then what are the reasons for that and how to correct them. Right, guys? So I hope you have understood what exactly is done in planning. We have to see many more things in planning. First, you note down this. Therefore, planning means setting objectives and targets and formulating an action plan to achieve them. Right? This we have already discussed, guys, that we first set objective and then we make an action plan. And for this, we keep various alternative courses of actions in front of us. We evaluate them, and then finally we choose the best one. It is concerned with both ends and means. Ends means where you want to reach, and means how will you reach there. Planning means living the future now. So when you sit for planning, you actually not only decide about future, but you actually think about future very critically and minutely, so that you do not miss anything which may happen actually in planning period. If you miss that today, in the planning period, when actually you would be, you know, commissioning the things, executing the things, that time you may have lot many hurdles if you have not thought about that in advance. That is experiencing the activities now that would be done in future by thinking about them thoroughly. So this is guys about planning. Now features of planning. I hope you people are understanding everything. The first is planning is goal oriented. Obviously there should be some goal that you want to achieve. There should be some organizational goal. It may be anything. It may be increasing your turnover, that is annual sales. It may be becoming market leader. It may be modernize your business by bringing new technology and discarding the obsolete technology. It may be having good social presence. It may be achieving a particular market share, and so on. So it may be about turnover, about production, about technology, about modernization, about profitability, about branding, about social image, about having presence in a new market or penetrating a new market. So goal can be anything. Plan without any goal is of no use. Plans are made based on goals. You first decide goal and then you make the plan. A manager cannot plan anything unless he knows what exactly he wants to achieve. So first he has to decide what he wants to achieve. For example, you cannot plan for a journey unless you know where you want to go and what is the purpose of going there. Planning has no meaning unless it contributes to achievements of organizational goals. So in an organization, in perspective of a business organization, if you do not meet any business goals, then planning by any manager of any department has no sense at all. Note down this also, guys. Primary function of management. It is the very first function of every manager that they plan, whether it is top level management, that is business owners or board of directors, or middle level management or lower level management. So without planning, you cannot think of any other thing. So when you make plan, then only you get to know that how many people you want to run your business, what kind of material things you require in your business, how many funds are needed for the business would be of which product, would be dealing where, who would be the target audience or customer of the business, and so on. And for all that, you should first sit to decide the things, and that is what is planning. So this is the very first step, and that is why we say that it is primary function of management. In planning, objectives are decided and then targets are set. Once objectives and targets are set, then only other functions like organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling can be performed. You all know we have already discussed these functions of management in brief. So you, I believe, well understand now that without planning, you cannot go for organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling. It is therefore the primary function of management, as every activity needs to be planned before it is actually performed. If you just start performing something without making any plan, you may not reach the destination where you want to reach. Planning thus provides basis for other managerial functions. You plan and then only you get to know what exactly you want and how your structure of your organization would be, that is organizing. How many people you require, that is staffing. Who would be doing what, and how managers and supervisors would be supervising their jobs, would be motivating and influencing them, that is directing. And you have to compare your actual results with what? That all comes from planning. And this is the reason why planning makes a basis for other managerial functions. The third point is planning is pervasive. Pervasive means anything which is spread everywhere. So planning is spread everywhere in all the departments and all the organizations at every level. So planning is done at all levels of management as well as in all departments of the organization. Once the main plan of the business is made, it is broken down and it is distributed among all the departments. Then every departmental head makes plan for his own department, aligning his plan with the main organizational plan or objective. And this is how plan moves from top to bottom. It is not an exclusive function of top management. Means it is not only the function of top management, but middle level and lower level management also needs to plan. Like the lower level management plans activities on a regular basis. Like what would be the production in the next week? How many units we have to sell in the next week? Who would be doing that? In which market we would be doing that? At what price we would be doing that? And so on. So for every week, if you ever have visited any factory, you will see that there is production chart, which is made either weekly or fortnightly or monthly. And with that, the whole production department knows what exactly they have to produce by what time. Yes, its scope differs at different levels and among different departments. So scope of planning is different for different levels as well as different departments, because every department has different functions. So they make different plans for them. But plans of every department should align with the main plan or objective of the organization. Top level makes plans for a long period and lay down the objectives for the organization as a whole. टॉप लेवल लॉन्ग पीरियड के लिए प्लान बनाता है. जब उस प्लान को नीचे भेजा जाता है मिडिल लेवल पे और लोअर लेवल पे, तो शॉर्ट पीरियड के प्लान्स बनते हैं. तो वो शॉर्ट पीरियड के फिर बहुत सारे प्लान्स बनेंगे. एक शॉर्ट पीरियड खत्म हुआ, उसके बाद नेक्स्ट वाले का वापस प्लान रेडी है उस डिपार्टमेंट के हेड के पास. और इस तरह से जो टॉप मैनेजमेंट प्लान बना रहा है, वो पूरे ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल के ऑब्जेक्टिव्स को सेट कर रहा है. I hope guys you have understood this. If yes, start noting this down. This is the last slide for today.